And on a prior video, I reviewed the Nexar One dashcam, which is a very interesting dashcam because it has a very unusual feature that not a lot of dashcams have, and that is the fact that it can communicate to the cloud. Basically, it is connected to the internet at all times, potentially allowing you to monitor your vehicle remotely, get live notifications, track the vehicle, and more. And since the release of that video, there's been some updates, including the release of a second app for the Nexar. And on this video, I'm gonna cover what the new app does versus the original app. That way you can decide which is the right one for you and also know what Nexar says about which one you should be using. But before I get started, if you have not seen the review video for this, I'll put a link to it in the description down below. That way you can see how this dashcam actually works and how it functions as well as its features. Now the first thing that I want to show you is that I have both Nexar Classic and Nexar Connect currently installed on my phone. I do not recommend that you install both of them or run both of them at the same time. You could run into issues. I would recommend picking either from the Nexar Connect or Nexar Classic based on the features that you need. But before I show you the Nexar Connect app, I do want to show you that the Nexar Classic app, it's really just the old Nexar app. Some of the stuff is in different places, but it's really the same options, and I have already made a video covering all of them. For example, dashcam settings now has its own section. This right here used to be on this screen, but besides that, nothing has changed. Parking mode, again, it's just a slider to turn it on or off. It used to be down here, somewhere below here. They just moved it up there. So how do you know which of the two apps to use, Nexar Classic or Nexar Connect? Well, Nexar says to use Nexar Connect if you have a Nexar Connect subscription. Basically, if you're already paying for that service, might as well use all the features included in the Nexar Connect app. And if you do not have a Nexar Connect subscription, you will want to use the Nexar Classic, again with a supported dashcam. And in my case, it is with my Nexar One. Now, what's really interesting is that I can actually use the Nexar Connect app with my dashcam, even though I don't have a Nexar Connect subscription. However, some of the options are limited, or what Nexar describes as restricted, because I don't have a Nexar Connect subscription. One thing, for example, is the firmware updates. I can only do them via the Nexar Classic app. I cannot do firmware updates with the Nexar Connect app. I ran into that issue and Nexar pointed me to the Nexar Classic app, and here I'm able to update the firmware with the update firmware option. What's also interesting is that sometimes the Nexar Classic app does have a couple of little bugs. For example, I have played around with turning off the parking mode feature from here, and don't matter if I uncheck it, it always seems to be enabled on the dashcam. I cannot seem to disable it from the Nexar Classic app. However, I am able to disable it using the Nexar Connect app. So there is a possibility that if you run into a feature that does not work on the Classic, you may have some luck experimenting with the Nexar Connect app and seeing if you can control the dashcam or change that setting using this app instead, and vice versa. There might be a feature that you are unable to get to work under the Nexar Connect app, especially if you do not have the Nexar Connect subscription. In my particular case, I don't have that subscription, and I was unable to use the firmware update function over here, but I was able to update the firmware using the Nexar Classic. Now let's take a look at the Nexar Connect app. First off, we can see that my subscription is not active, so definitely not subscribed to that. And you can see on here my Nexar dashcam, and I'm gonna go ahead and tap over that stream option. And this is to see live video coming from the dashcam. Remote stream has been grayed out, again, because I don't have the subscription for Nexar Connect, but local stream is not grayed out. It's actually functional. Let me show you how that looks. And it walks you through the instructions on how to do that, which is double tapping the power button, then hitting continue. And if you use Android Auto, you're gonna wanna turn it off temporarily, or in my case, I don't use it. And the only thing I did is I selected the Wi-Fi that came up, and you can see on here that it is streaming the front camera. And again, just like the Nexar Classic, I'm able to switch that live stream from the front camera to the cabin camera. Again, this is streaming locally. We are not using the over the cloud streaming function. Now, to see the videos that are stored on the dashcam, you're gonna wanna use the activity icon, and you can see that those videos are here, sorted out just like in the Nexar Classic app. Well, I'm gonna use this access function, and I'm gonna go ahead and select connect to dashcam. Again, double tap to enable it. One more time, I don't use Android Auto. I'm gonna select my Nexar. And now we see the previews of the videos because I am connected locally to the dash cam, and I'm gonna go ahead and tap on that video. And here, just like before, I am able to select a section of that video or download both of them on their entirety down from the dash cam to my phone. So as you can see, I am able to access the videos that are on my dash cam and download them even though I don't have a subscription for the Nexar Connect app. And the next tab is gonna be incidents, and here's where you'll find videos that potentially may show a car crash or videos that were flagged by you as important. Now what's interesting is that this particular video was created when I had my Nexar subscription, and I believe that's the reason I'm still able to access that video. But for example, this new video that has been created after my Nexar subscription expires, as you can see, it is not active, it is not accessible, it's not even in the cloud technically because my subscription is not active. Well, here's where it gets to the fun stuff, and that is the more. And you can see on here that this menu looks a little bit similar to Nexar Classic. First off, notice we have this rear camera option, and that is because the Nexar One now supports a rear camera in addition to the front and cabin one. And here's where it gets interesting. Under settings, there's a couple more options in here than on the Nexar Classic app. The first one is going to be recording quality. On Nexar Classic, I only have the choice of 4K for the front or 1080 for the front, and the cabin is not adjustable. I always get 720p. Here I get basic, standard, or premium. Now basic, what that does, that reduces the front camera resolution to 720p, basically high definition, and the cabin camera at 540, which is still gonna be somewhat decent for video. And this is in case if I wanted to maximize the amount of video that I can carry on my phone and also on my dash cam. Standard, which is the recommended one, as you can see on here, it says recommended, brings the front camera to 1080p, which is full high definition. And the cabin camera video now gets bumped up to 720, so the video quality is tremendously better, consumes a little bit more space, and takes a little bit longer to download. And then we get the premium choice. The premium sets the front camera at 4K and the cabin remains at 720p. Again, this is gonna consume more space, it's gonna take longer to download, so you will wanna find a good medium in here between space and video quality when selecting between basic, standard, or premium. And these two options are also on Nexar Classic, which is audio recording and turning off the sounds. But parking mode, this is the one I had issues with on Nexar Classic. Here I'm able to turn on and off the parking mode, and the dashcam does seem to remember that option, so now I'm finally able to turn it off using this app. Also, what's really helpful on Nexar Connect is this: we are able to adjust the sensitivity of that parking sensor. And why is this important? On the Nexar Classic app, I can only turn it on or off. It doesn't give me control over sensitivity, and I like to adjust sensitivity because if I want to have my car detect even the slightest bump, I'm gonna select ultra high, and now the dashcam has a higher chance of capturing somebody potentially interacting or damaging my car while parked. Now, if I wanted to reduce the number of false alerts, maybe the wind is moving the car, or maybe a car passing by just kind of moves the car and is triggering the parking mode, I could decrease the sensitivity of that G sensor to reduce the number of false incidents on their parking mode. And here's another feature that I don't remember seeing on the Nexar Classic app, and that is the ability to change the distance units between miles per hour or kilometers per hour. Very helpful, especially if you're in a place that does not use miles or that does not use kilometers per hour. And also this function right here is not on the Nexar Classic. This is vehicle names on map, and this pertains to people who are using these dashcams for fleet purposes. So there are several cars running these dashcams and you are trying to identify them with names. And if you guys want to see my full video for the Nexar Classic app, I'll put a link to that in the description down below. As you saw, there are a lot of similarities, but there are cases where the Nexar Connect app will have the advantage over the Nexar Classic. And another interesting thing that happened right around I was finishing this video is that Nexar has released now basically what they call two plans: the basic plan and the LTE protection plan. The basic plan includes the basic local video basically on the dash cam, automatic detected incidents on the dash cam, and live streaming when in the car. Basically everything that a normal Wi-Fi dash cam can do. The LTE protection plan, you get a 90-day trial when you get one of these guys brand new, that way you can test it out. It includes everything that's included in the basic, but now it gives you the ability to live stream from anywhere, unlimited cloud storage, but also the key part is the rear camera add-on. The rear camera, interestingly, can only be added currently with the LTE protection plan. And what's kind of leaves me a little bit wondering is what happens if I do order the dashcam with the rear camera and the LTE protection plan so I can use it. If I discontinue using that plan, will the rear camera stop working? Not really sure how that's gonna work, but the plan is relatively affordable. It's currently priced around $9 a month. And I will tell you, there are dashcams that don't offer the LTE plan. Basically, they could potentially connect to the internet, but you have to go and find your own service provider. So that means that you're gonna have to subscribe with somebody like AT&T or Verizon, some LTE provider, and then pair that module to the dashcam on the dashcams that support it. So cloud functionality is very rare. And I think in here, to simplify all that whole process of you having to hunt around for a provider, they have built it all together and they're offering you the service all together. It's gonna make sense for some people and it's not gonna make sense for others that do not like subscriptions and that don't need that kind of level of protection on their vehicle. Now, I'm not particularly excited about having to pay to use a rear camera, but this is the first rear camera that I've seen that is fully wireless. And it just needs power and that's it. So there's no need to run a cable all the way to the back of the vehicle. So I guess you're kind of paying for that luxury, but again, it's not gonna be for everybody. Some people are gonna wanna have to just pay an installer once, have that cable run, and not have to worry about a subscription to use a third camera. So I'll put a link in the description down below to the Nexar Pro. It is available just as a front camera or with the cabin add-on, which basically turns this into a 2-channel camera, and also available with a third camera option. But again, keep in mind that the LTE protection plan will be required if you wanna run that third camera. And if you guys have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. And if you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel and stay tuned as I have a lot more dashcam reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.